You mentioned earlier that, we've all kind of lived through the experiences of this world before. So that makes me think of past lives. So can you share more about how we have experienced those things and that significance to what we're experiencing now?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I'll share with you, I remember some of my past lives. I know, in particular, I know the one I lived before this. And when I tuned into that, the life that I'm living, or was living earlier in my life, made total sense to me after I realized, oh, that's where it came from, right? So when I was younger, of course, I got into the martial arts. I wanted to be in the martial arts right away. Loved to fight. Just wanted to be involved in this, and had this whole thing. And I'll share a quick story from my youth, because there were a few times in my youth where I almost died, and it just never bothered me. So, quick story from my youth. I grew up on a cul-de-sac, and a tiny little place. And down the street, around the corner, was Greenmount Street, and there was a gang down there. They called them the Greenmount Gang, right? And so we were told, do not walk down Greenmount Street at night, because you will get beaten up. These guys will beat you up, take your money. It was well known, right? So there was 6 or 7 of them in this gang. So one night it was nighttime. I'm out in the street playing. I'm towards the top of the street, and here comes the gang walking by, right? So I was probably 14. I mean, I'm not very big. But back then I was even a little skinny little kid, right? Hadn't started martial arts or anything. And so they walked by, and I see the leader, and I stared at him as he walked by, right? And so after they walked by, I went to the top of the street. I don't know why I did this, but I went to the top of the street. I looked around the corner at them. The leader looks back, and because he did, now they all stop, and they turn around and stop and look back at me. And as I look at them, I just went, they're in their 20s, I'm 14, skinny kid. I'm just like this, So I thought that was it. I come back into the street. Here they come. They chase after my friends. The gang leader comes after me. And in the cul-de-sac, there's a low concrete wall and these railings above it, these black metal railings. And so he grabbed me by the throat, with 2 hands, and shoved me up against the railing, was choking me, squeezing my neck to kill me, choke me like this, right? And in my mind, I consciously thought, what can I do to fight back? I could do this, I could do that, I could have run, right? I didn't. And I made a conscious decision to just put my hands by my side and relax and just stare at him. And in my mind, I remember this clearly. In my mind, I was thinking, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not afraid to die. So do your thing. Well, that stopped him in his tracks. He just backed off, took 2 steps back, and he's looking at me like, what is going on? This guy's not even fighting back. He's not afraid. What's going on? He backed off. By then, my brothers are coming, and they're chasing him out of the street, so that was the end of that. But I knew, I was not afraid to die, even at that young age. There were other experiences I had that I thought, oh, I'm going to die here. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to die here. No big deal. That was when I was young. So I never had that fear. Got into the martial arts. My favorite movies that I watched all the time, anything to do with assassins. Mm-hmm. I would watch them over and over again. Anything to do with an assassin, CIA, undercover, like that. It was my favorite movie. I was watching them all the time, right? All the time. And then one time I was meditating and I tuned into my past life. I was an assassin in my past life. I lived in Spain. I recalled the moment I killed myself. I couldn't deal with the fact that I was doing what I was doing. And I took a gun and I put it to my head. I can describe in detail the room, the gun, my handler, because assassins always have, the handler that was there, I could describe perfectly him, the armchair, the mirror, the white thing, the gun, the silver gun, the special gun that I told him to bring because I wanted to use that gun. I remember him coming up behind me, saying nothing because he wanted to stop me. I said nothing. He walked out, took the gun, killed myself. So my whole life made sense to me after I, oh my, no wonder this No wonder I wanted to get into martial arts. No wonder I liked this stuff. No wonder I wasn't afraid to die. Like, was my life, right? That. So then in this life, then it became, you know, do you want to be the Buddha or do you want to be an assassin? So if you come to my house now, right, you go into one room and you see all these certificates on the wall for martial arts, all the weapons I have downstairs. And then over here by my desk is Buddha and Kuan Yin. Like there were these two dynamics in my life all the time, and obviously you know which one I chose. Yeah. But it informed my life, this life, because of that. So, I mean, I know Sadhguru Jayagi Vasudev from India, that guru, who I like to listen to as well. He talked about that, how like he looked at his previous lives and realized how it influenced and how he got to where he was because of those things. Because you carry those things with you. I'll tell you another quick one. I have two daughters. My younger daughter, I never had a fear of my older daughter getting in trouble or anyone attacking her or doing harm to her. Always had a fear my younger daughter would get attacked. Always fear of where she was going, what she was doing. Didn't know why. Like, why my younger daughter? Why? So again, I tuning in and came across this past life from a very, very long time ago. This is back in like Genghis Khan time, like way back, right? I had murdered and raped her during war, right? Now, not my daughter today, but that energy that keeps coming on, that's another whole thing. But the energy that comes along, that carried along, like way back then, I had done that to her. That's why I had the fear. When I worked on that and saw that, and all the fear with her just disappeared. I no longer had that fear anymore. It was gone because it was my fear because of what I'd done to her back then. Yeah. So it does inform things.
How do you know that these are true?
So it's a really good question. I'm the kind of person that like I don't believe things. I have to experience them. Like if somebody tells me something, I'm like, sure, but if it's not an experience for me, then I just don't believe it. You begin to recognize the difference between what you're creating in your mind and what's real. That's a hard thing to describe. I guess the best way to describe it is this. When you're consciously thinking of something, you know that you're thinking about it and you're imagining it. When something comes about, that's totally unexpected, that's when you realize, oh, I would never think of this. This would never come to me. It's so different. Then you know it's different. You know my friend Wendy. So this is, so Wendy's very well connected, obviously as well, very aware person. She came to me one night, she said, there's a past life that I'm struggling with, right? And she said, I want you to try to help me with this. I said, okay. So we sat on, side by side meditating. And she said, I'm going to follow you in your meditation to what you're experiencing. And I said, okay. I was okay with that. So I tuned into her energy and into her life, right? And that past experience. And I saw in detail this particular life, okay? So we came out of the meditation, and before I could say a word, she described every single thing that I saw. She said, thank you. I didn't have to tell her. Through the experience of connection, she was able to see it. That's when you know it's real. When someone you're not talking to has the experience you're experiencing, you know that's a real connection beyond this physical.